Thank you very much, everyone. Absolute pleasure to be here with you this evening. Really appreciate the invitation, Sally, and the opportunity to join in on what has already been a really enjoyable evening. It's lovely people, it's great food. So thanks to the organisers and thanks to Mayor Liz Campbell. It's a great opportunity for us to be here and share our story with you guys. I was just talking to a couple of my team members on the table here, and we're saying we're really pleased that we're here. So I've been asked to share our story with you. Many of you will know us as Oliver's Real Food, and you will have seen our branding around. Would you like beans with that? I'll start out. I came to Australia in '89. I'm a Kiwi, so it'll come out at some point in the conversation when I say sex or chips or something. I came here in '89 to start a business that was an information system for the building industry, and it was a very successful business. It quickly started to work for us, and eventually we franchised that business in Canada and back in New Zealand. And after about 8 years, we sold it. And at the time, many of the people that knew me and knew how hard I had worked to create that business, they said to me, "You're absolutely mad. You finally got this business up and running. It's making really good money. Why would you sell it?" And the answer to that question really had come from the fact that I had, over the years, many times asked myself, why was I doing what I was doing? I'd asked myself the question, how did I get here? And I think it just came out of the fact that you grow up and you think that you've got to be a success and you've got to provide for your family and that sort of thing. So we started a business and we started making money, but it always left me feeling fairly empty. And I didn't do it intentionally, but looking back, I think I intuitively knew that if I was really going to find my passion in life, then I needed to let go of what I was already doing to make myself available for what I could perhaps do. So I took some time off and did a bit of travelling, and I was also approaching the age of 40, and so it became clear to me that I needed to look after myself if I was going to stay in shape and keep myself healthy and happy. So I started putting my attention on keeping myself in shape. And when you do that, you start thinking a lot more about the food that you're eating and the sort of things that you're putting into your body. At the same time, my wife at the time was studying nutrition, and that was a passion of hers that had been created by her experience in her family that had a bad run with bowel cancer in her family. So she really wanted to understand what was going on there. And through helping her and reading some of the books that she was studying at the time, I started to get my head around the fact that there was a whole world of degenerative disease that was consuming the population. And it also blew my mind that at the same time the health industry was really saying that there wasn't much of a connection between diet and health. That really puzzled me. So through the process of understanding that and developing a bit of a passion for that, we learned that as human beings we have an amazing immune system and a natural ability to heal ourselves. We learned that nearly all, if not all, degenerative diseases can be largely prevented and often reversed if you have a diet that maintains that healthy immune system. We learned that food should be consumed in its natural form without the addition of colours, flavours, preservatives, emulsifiers, stabilisers and thickeners and all the additives. And we learned that food should be free from pesticides, herbicides, fungicides and all other chemical residues. This is what is ideal. And we learned that, as Hippocrates stated, our food should be our medicine and that our medicine should be our food. And that really struck a chord with me, those simple things. At the time though, I was like most people. I was really busy. I was contracted for the company I'd sold my previous business to. I was doing a lot of travelling, and so I was really sold on the concept of fast food. I thought it was a great idea, but it really just did my head in that everywhere we went, where fast food was available, and it was normally in just the right location where you needed it, like halfway between here and Sydney, where you would pull in to go to the bathroom or to get some fuel or whatever. That it was always crap. And I remember saying in 1999 we stopped at the northbound Celtic service stations at Wyong there. I was sitting in the back of the car because I'd lost my licence. And my sister-in-law was driving. And I had another whinge, you know. I said to her, look, this is just ridiculous. It's nearly the year 2000. And here we are in this ideal location to get some food, go to the bathroom, that sort of thing. Who decided that we have to eat burgers, fries and Coke everywhere we go? And it was that day that she turned around from the driver's seat and went, why don't you do something about it? Instead of whinging about it all the time. So I thought about it for about 10 minutes in the back of the car, and you know, after about 10 minutes I said to her, you know what, I think I will. By thinking about it and imagining what it would be like to do something like that, it really excited me, and I think it ignited my passion. So that afternoon I went home and I started writing down all of the ideas that I had, and that formed the basis of what became the first business plan for a healthy fast food business. I didn't have any previous experience in hospitality. I didn't have any real experience in food preparation, even cooking at home. I didn't do much of that, but I did have a passion for food that was going to deliver health and happiness. And to me, that's what food should be, a delivery of nutrition that will give us health and vitality. So I started to imagine, and this is the process that I went through for those that are interested in coming up with a concept like this. I imagined in as much detail as I possibly could what sort of food you might have if you had a healthy fast food place. What we would sell, and most importantly what we would not have on the menu. I imagined what it would look like, what we would call it, what the logo would look like, colours we would use. I imagined what it would stand for, what would make us who we are as a brand, what would we allow ourselves to do, and most importantly, what we would forbid ourselves from doing. I imagine the sort of impacts that we could have if we had a real passion for and a deep understanding of nutrition. And I imagine the sort of impacts that we could have if we really cared about the health and well-being of our customers. If we wanted to educate them and empower them about the benefits of good nutrition. I imagined also the sort of impacts that we could have if we really cared about having positive social and environmental impacts through the business that we did. What sort of food would we sell? Healthy. You know, the reason that we didn't call Oliver's real food Oliver's healthy food is because you could have as many people as this in one room and they'd all be health experts and they'd all argue about what was healthy. So the conclusion that I came to was that we would call it Oliver's real food because to me that's what food should be. Kind of like the food that we're having here tonight. It's real, it hasn't had a lot of processing. You know, the chef said he's kept it as simple as possible and isn't it just delicious. Where would we locate these stores? The conclusion that I came to was that the most obvious place for these types of stores was to put them firstly in these highway locations where you're seeing Oliver's pop up now. At that stage when we were researching the menu, we went into Sydney and we went into Melbourne and we went into Brisbane. We looked at what was popular, that was considered to be healthy. And in the cities you could get just about anything you wanted. You had all the choice. But on the highways, when you were travelling, there were always those times where you inevitably ended up compromising because you were hungry and you had no other choice. So I felt that it was time that somebody provided that alternative in those types of locations. What would it stand for? What would be the underlying purpose of the business? I just want to quote Anita Roddick here of Body Shop fame, because I really liked this at the time and I still believe it to be true. She said, in terms of power and influence, you can forget the church and forget politics. There's no more powerful institution in society today than business. I believe it is now more important than ever before for business to assume a moral leadership, and that the business of business should not just be about making money, it should be about taking responsibility, it should be about public good, not just private greed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
To me, the purpose of any business is to make a positive contribution, and both socially and environmentally. And not just to be neutral. We talk often about being carbon neutral, and being neutral is fine, but it would be even better if we could be making that positive contribution on the positive side of the ledger. I imagine the sort of impacts we could have if we had a real passion and understanding of nutrition. And if you imagine with me for a moment a fast food company that actually understands and is passionate about nutrition, not just filling people's stomach with the cheap, nasty food that makes you feel full for a little while and then guilty a little bit later. I imagine, at the time there was no brand that radiated that. There was no brand that really had the trust of consumers. We all knew what fast food companies were. I imagine the sort of impacts that we could have if we really cared about the health and well-being of our customers, and if we wanted to educate and empower them to have a happier, healthy life. It never ceases to amaze me the number of people that come up to me and say when I'm in one of the stores, "Oh my God, are you the owner? Can I please just tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing." The number of parents that I've had say to me, "My kids now love beans. They never used to eat their veggies, and now they ask me to make beans at home, just like we have at Oliver's. And so we steam them together and we put the pink Himalayan salt on them." So it really is cool to feel like when you've got a business that you are actually having those kinds of impacts as well. So one of the slides that we've got here is feed your good. This is our catchphrase, and a lot of people have asked me, even here tonight, so what does feed your good mean? We put this little creed together, and I'll just read it for you. This is not a frivolous statement, but a creed for those who embrace health, delight in happiness, and cherish fulfillment. It's about fueling the good inside you with all the right ingredients. From healthy nutrition and tasty knowledge to a scrumptiously balanced lifestyle. Look around you. This deliciousness is everywhere, even in the Macleay Valley. Waiting to be saved, and when it is, you'll be the shiniest, most brand new you that you can be. So make friends with the part of you that is your good. Cherish it, nurture it, love it. Give your good whole foods that are nutrient dense. Take it for a walk in the park. Allow it to spend time with your family and friends. Fill it with knowledge, or simply sit quietly with it and watch the sunrise. Because your good is anything that makes you smile from the inside. And the more you feed it, the better you'll feel. So go on, get stuck in and enjoy every mouth-watering bite.
So good, come on. It's brilliant.
The world's first certified organic fast food company. Very hard to do a business like that and not be passionate about using organic produce. So I applaud those who are already certified organic, and I encourage all of those that are considering perhaps going down that path. Certainly the biggest challenge for us is now getting enough organic produce to meet our demands. Beans are our signature dish, and we've only got 19 stores at this stage. The goal is 300 stores in Australia, but already we require a minimum of 650 kilos of beans a week, every week. and we anticipate in the next 12 months that will grow to somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 kilos a week. So if anybody wants to grow beans for us, we'd love some more beans grown. At the moment we have no beans in any of our stores because we just can't get them. So as I say, we want to be 100% organic. So, you know, if anybody's considering changing to organic, we'd love to encourage you in that direction. The other big challenge for us is the logistics, and a couple of people have already mentioned tonight the challenges around getting your produce to the people who want it. There's a slide here that explains the issues. There's supply, quality and price. Often with organics, produce can be a lot more expensive than conventionally grown, chemically grown food, I like to call it. But I think if enough people get on board, we can change that eventually. Click to the next slide. So our solution is to work with growers. We like to have long-term relationships with our suppliers. We like to be very loyal to our suppliers, and we like to have a sort of open dialogue where we, keep you guys really well informed about our demands, our requirements, and then if you understand that, then we'll take everything that you can provide us. And as part of that, there can be an agreement around price. These are just some of the items that we have challenges with at the moment. Obviously, we want organic in those categories. And then I won't go on all night, but one of the things that I think is really relevant to you guys in here is our plans for growth. We've got 19 stores on the east coast of Australia at this stage, and they're represented by the orange dots there. And the green dots are where we're going to be opening stores in the next 6 to 12 months. You can see that there's a definite focus on highway sites. As I said earlier, that's where there's a really sad lack of decent food choices. But there's a method to the madness as well. For us to be able to service stores that sit, for instance, between Sydney and Melbourne, it's a real logistical challenge. So we've set up the infrastructure with our own trucks to run from Brisbane through to Adelaide to service all the stores that sit on these highways. So that means that we're going to be running trucks backwards and forwards past this region. And so you guys should be fairly easily be able to plug into those logistics and not just supply stores that we might have that are in the local region, but stores that we have nationally. So I think there's a great opportunity there, and we'd love to be part of it. And if you've got any questions, now's a good time for them.
Grow organic beans.
Grow organic beans, edamame, oranges,
That's the message.
garlic, if we can have it here. Yeah, there was. It's a good question. You just asked it. Yeah, so the question you just asked is, was there any resistance from our competitors when we were trying to set up our stores? It took 3 years to get consent to open the first 2 stores there at Wyong on the highway, because McDonald's had a lease which excluded any other fast food company coming onto that site, even though there were empty buildings sitting there. And it was only really my persistence and determination that found a way around that, and there was actually a clause in that lease which defined what a fast food company was, and I wasn't a fast food company. So, but that said, we had to indemnify Caltex against any claims they might receive from McDonald's, and these days that's costing us about $100,000 a year in compensation to McDonald's. But that's just the price of the ticket, and you know, it's one of the things that people don't understand when they say, goodness me, how can you charge $4.90 for organic steamed green beans on the side of the highway? There's a lot of things that you've got to pay for to make that available.
Anthony here from Countryside Council, do you think the local government, state or local council wise, has the government been helpful to you, or do you think it's had some barriers?
I can't speak for the local region here. Wyong Shire Council, I'd have to say, at the end of the day, have been very good for us. It was very difficult in the early days. In general, no, but I think more it's changing these days. We've actually had approaches from local governments saying, you know, we'd love you to open a store in our region. And those conversations are continuing, so we'll see where they go. But I think there's definitely a general awakening to healthier food choices and the need for them and the benefits of them.
I'm just wondering how you sort of visualise this growth, and whether you are seeing an increase in the number of customers that you have making the choice away from towards options. You know, I think it's fantastic that we now stop there, but I just wonder if I see migration in behaviour.
Oh, absolutely. When we opened in 2005, I used to stand in the front of the shop because it was empty and look out the glass and just go, what is wrong with people? I couldn't understand that people wouldn't make a healthier choice if there was a healthier choice. But I think we were a bit before our time in 2005. Plus it was all very new. You know, people would come up to the door, truck drivers particularly, would come up and look in as if to say, what the hell is this? You know? And nobody wants to go into an empty restaurant, so you know, until we can get some people in there. So it was very hard work in the early days, but we've got thousands and thousands of clients, customers now that would tell us that they made the choice one day to come and try it, and now they've never been back to McDonald's. And you know, the biggest request we get. The biggest sort of complaint we get from our customers is, why do you not have more stores? You should have one next to every McDonald's.
Is that your plan?
Yeah.
300 around Australia one day?
Absolutely. 300 in Australia, 10,000 internationally. So, you know, we hope to take this offshore. I think we'll get there. We've just got to manage the process, because if you go too fast, it can be quite stressful. No, we do get bananas, because the bananas in Coffs Harbour are fantastic, and I love the idea of Macleay Valley bananas. But no, I can't think of any produce that we're getting from this region at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure at the right time of the year you'll be able to grow them, no problem at all. I mean, it's a beautiful countryside, so I shouldn't imagine that you would have too much of a challenge. It's just a matter of somebody putting their mind to it, making it happen. Okay, thank you guys.